Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 6 minutes after the hour on this 16th day of October on this Work It Out Wednesday. Good morning. Wait a minute. Is it Work It Out Wednesday? Yeah, it's Work It Out Wednesday. It is. Work It Out Wednesday. Welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. Yours truly, Joe Dupree in the building from 100 BLK, the Black Station, along with my brother from another mother. You know him from the open line, online, and keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton in his New York Yankees gear. It is none other than Brother Fatim. Good morning.
Yes, sir. 2-0, baby, for the Yankees. Mets go today against the Dodgers. So we'll see what happens. Got a book for
Will
you
there be a
guys.
Subway? Will there be a Subway series?
Yeah. This book is called Black. You know what AF stands for. Don't start
History.
me this
Come on.
morning. Black
Come on.
as F history, the unwhitewashed story of America.
Now, so the brother came out with his book, of course, coming up around the bottom of the hour. Sean P with the Sean P Experience will be in here today with, of course, the Urban Book Reviews, the pen to the paper that we do every third Wednesday of the month. Not only will he be on today, we gonna have some special guests on. It's gonna be a good show today. Listen, I got to start this show off on a sad note for people who live in Lafayette, Louisiana. A a giant, an icon, a person a lot of us hold in high esteem has transitioned on. Judge Jules Edwards. Judge Edwards was one of my mentors as I took this journey down this path to get into law enforcement and to get into helping the community. He was big on that. He was big on that. He was um he was a person that was good to see on the bench that looked like us and that we knew was going to be fair and impartial when it came down to administering justice. So he transitioned on yesterday to be with the ancestors. Our thoughts, our prayers go out to his wife, his children, his family, his friends, his followers, his fans. Uh, Judge Jewel Edwards was, I believe, 66 years old, and you will be thoroughly missed, my brother. So we start off with that. Uh, that was some shocking news when I got in last night from work that I was not prepared to receive. But a lot of folks have been transitioning on, and it lets you know that you need to you need to prepare yourself in more ways than one because you don't know the time, the hour, the day, the second, or the minute that huh, that the hourglass runs out and it's your turn to go and be with the ancestors. So that's all I gotta say about that, brother. Fatim, give me something. Give me something.
I mean, you can't start without. I don't know. I didn't know the judge, but I saw when you put it up there yesterday. So again, prayers and condolences to his family, friends, and those that knew the judge, and from just the words that you shared with about him, seems like a tremendous and great individual. Like I said, it's not when you're born and when you die, is what you do with that dash in between. So
Amen.
that
Amen.
that there was something I was going to say, um not about that, but I didn't have nothing else on. Well, I can't remember what the heck I was going to after that. You know what I'm
Is that
saying?
it's like me today. I said, "Is this Wednesday? Is this?" I woke up this morning in my neck of the woods in Louisiana. It's a little brisky, cool outside. It's like in the
Everywhere.
it's in the 50s, and guess what? Some folk love it. I'm not a very cold natured person. I was born on the second day of summer, so coolness does something to me, and I'm like, oh my god, it's a little cold out here. But
Oh, I know what I was going to say. I know I
other
was going to say. I know what I was going to say.
go ahead, brother.
So what happens is, when you talk about sad day, every year we announce people passing. And I'm not going to sit here and say this year is more. I don't know. I don't set up an ad, but
Right.
we lost a lot of people this year, and it's been back to back to back every week. And I come on this show. I mean, there has been somebody that has transitioned that has been basically a known person, and then we have people that we personally know that has transitioned. And a lot of these folks, I mean, some of the older folks are older, but you said the judge could be possibly 66, you
No,
know.
he is 66. I went back and checked. He's 66.
And I'm just saying that life, you know, you have to after 50, after 55, man, you know, that clock is running. I don't, you know, I talk about prepared, but I try to use better words. I'm saying to make sure your business is in order. You can't prepare for death, and I'm not going to sit here and live my life for death. That's one thing I'm not going to do. But what you do is you live life to the fullest. You live life to the best. You try to be a little bit more healthy, a little bit more conscious. Make sure your business is in order, but you don't get up every morning living your life. Oh, I wonder which today going to be my day to die.
Right.
Put you in funk. So I think I know what you meant, but I don't want to put that energy that we prepare. No, we don't prepare to die. What we do is we make sure that things are in order, and we try to go out there and live a more conscious and healthy life as we go out there each day and take our breath. So that's how one I work.
On another news tip, 13 minutes past the hour, since folks are talking about folk don't talk to folks. Vice President Harris sit down with Charlemagne the God, and ooh, that interview was something nice. That was something nice. And you know, of course, there's early voting going on, and I'm going to say this: Georgia has set a early voting record, first day early voting record, which I am very proud that people went out and vote, regardless of who they voted for. It's good to know that folks are understanding that your vote is your voice, and your voice has power. And if you sit around and say, I'm not going to vote, you literally don't have anything to say when the end of the results come out, or the people who are in the power to legislate and put laws in place and levy taxes and things of that nature begin to affect you because you were so quote unquote woke or conscious that you decided not to vote. And now these folks who have the power have now instituted the power over you. So congratulations to all these places that early voting has started. Early voting starts here in Louisiana on Friday. And I encourage folks to get engaged, get involved, get registered, and go vote. Go vote. Go vote. That's all I got to say.
Here we go. So, Joe, they didn't trigger word. So let's deal with Charlemagne the God and the interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. Some interesting things that came out of it. Charlemagne is, you know, some people might want to criticize, well, he's the journalist. Why? I mean, she did an interview with Roland Martin. So don't sit there and say, why Charlemagne the God? Charlemagne the God has a following. He has a large following. He has a large young following that reach people. After that interview, and I seen some things that came out of it, let me just tell you, I'm worried about the Democrats. I'm worried about her. And I'm going to tell you why. The difference and the reason why I have to compare this because to President Obama is that when President Obama, when he was senator out of Chicago, Senator Obama, out of Illinois, senator out of Illinois, not Chicago, Illinois, he was more, he seemed genuine. He seemed authentic. A lot of politicians just seem political. I don't even want to mention Donald Trump because Donald Trump, I shared something. He was asking about small business and he started talking about oil and gas and shit like that. He's a loony bin. But let's deal with this. And this came out. Vice President Kamala Harris needed to change her style. She tries to stay on talking points, and people see right through that. Black people see through it. White people see through that. And I keep telling the Democrats they just don't get it. They don't get it. If you're going to have a conversation, be authentic about it. I know that reparations came up and yeah, that's nice, but you got to be authentic. And even Charlemagne was like, when do you get off your talking points? You got to have a conversation with a person. You have to have a conversation when you're being interviewed. When you're being interviewed, you know you have talking points, but you got to realize if you understand the issues, then you can articulate those issues. If you feel that you're stuck on a talking point, then you can't move. There's no leverage. And when there's no leverage, then you get tripped up. And that's the problem with Vice President Kamala Harris. And I didn't see that her when she was a senator, right? Oh, from California. When she was a senator and when she was on those panels and questioning people, she used her mind just like Crockett did, Representative Crockett. And now, when you became vice president, I fought the Biden administration by putting you in the back in the closet. And then now, when you came out, she messed up as a vice president because she tried to do Biden's administration talking points. She couldn't be herself. And now she's running. She still can't be herself because the campaign people got her so rigid because they got blinders on her. And I'm telling you, that is not the best way to reach people. People see through that bullshit. And that's what people keep saying. Politics is crappy. And when we get people that are more authentic, since you said we got to go out there, we ain't got to go do nothing. Because people don't want a gun being held to their head and tell them they got to do something when you put candidates out there that ain't talking to them. So again, I don't know what to say in almost 2.5 weeks left or close to 3 weeks left. I mean, it is what it is. But it was not a great interview to me. It just wasn't a great interview. You need to do these interviews. Now she's going on Fox. I got to see how she handled Fox.
Well,
I got to see how she handled Fox.
Brother Fatim, I can only say, man, I understand your passion and I understand
my passion. That's the reality, brother.
Well, I'm not.
You gotta be authentic. Authenticity is important to reach the people, bro.
Brother, I understand everything you're saying. I think so does all our listeners and the people who are in the feed. I think my issue is the following: what you kind of said in the beginning, but skimmed over. Too many times we try to put a microscope on Vice President Kamala Harris while we skim over the clown. And I can't do that.
The clown. He's an ass. There's nothing to skim over the clown.
But the point is, we don't understand that, in my humble opinion. And once again, like I said, you see it the way you see it, and I'm not disrespecting you or trying to
just look up some of the commentary out there.
I'm just saying I understand that. I'm just saying at the end of the day, I look at the alternative. I look at the alternative of an individual who has made it crystal clear that he will use the military if necessary to confront and to go against not our foreign adversaries, but folks who are inside this country. This rhetoric is dangerous, and I've got to drill down and stop really talking about the vice president from the point of what I feel she's not doing, and tell y'all pay attention to this, to the former president of Donald Trump, because he's made it crystal clear what he will do. So at the end of the day, you can talk about, how Vice President Harris, and I'm not saying you're wrong at any shape, form, or fashion, but I'm going to take a different road and a different approach to this. I'm going to talk about y'all need to pay close attention to Vice President, former President Donald Trump and JD Vance.
Haven't we been doing that for damn four? Haven't we been Haven't we been doing that since former President Trump left office? How much damn talking do we got to do and focus on him? What are you talking about? Haven't we been doing that? Haven't we been following the trials? What more microscope do we got to put on him? What are you talking about? How much do we have to drill the people on this?
Well,
he's an ass. Why do we have to do that? But why go wait? And the problem is we need to correct our issues. It's about our party. And if we're going to get our party right, then we can give constructive criticism. I know what the alternative is, but that doesn't take away for us to critique the Democratic Party. It doesn't give us
Brother Fatim. Once again,
Vice President Harris, bro.
Brother Fatim, I didn't say any of that. I didn't
Yes,
tell
you
you
did. Yes,
not
you
to.
did. You I'm
No,
gonna
I
take a
didn't.
different
I
road. I'm gonna concentrate
I
on the
said,
clown.
hold on, brother Fatim. I didn't tell you anything to do, and I don't understand. Take your blood pressure medicine.
I didn't
Calm,
tell you
calm,
anything.
calm,
I'm
calm,
just saying.
calm your monkey ass down on this
I'm
morning
not
and
calming shit
understand. I
down,
didn't
brother,
tell.
because we do
I
this
didn't.
shit we've been doing this for almost 8 years on Donald Trump. How much more do we got to do?
I didn't tell you whatever you need to do. If you want to blow a gasket here and catch a
I
heart
know,
attack,
yeah,
that's
it's
your
not.
choice.
Yo, don't start that
At the
bullshit.
end of
Don't start
at
that
the
bullshit.
end
Stay
of
on the
day,
goddamn topic. Stay on
I
the
am on the
topic.
topic. I said what I was going to
And
do.
we've been
I
doing
didn't
that for
tell.
how many years?
Hold on, brother Fatim. I told you what
Answer the
I'm going to
question.
do. I'm going. Hold it. I haven't listened. I went back and reviewed my podcast, and most of the times I am criticizing the Democratic Party. I am telling this is what I feel is wrong with the Democratic Party. This is what was wrong with us as a people. This is what we need to correct. I am one of those individuals. Sadly, just like with Barack Obama, our former president, who black folks have a problem when black folks tell black folks there's a problem with black folks. When white folks tell black folks there's a problem with black folks don't have a problem with that. Now, if you want to go over there on your side, where you're at on this side of the podcast and scream, holler, and do all that stuff, that
Doing
doesn't
that,
bother
Joe.
me,
Just
brother
deal with the
Fatim.
issue. If
Hold it.
I want to yell or raise my voice, that's what I'm
Right.
gonna do. I
That's
always
your
do that.
choice.
When
But
I'm knocking
okay,
Trump out the box and raising my voice, you don't complain. So don't do that.
okay.
Don't do that shit to me now.
I'm not
Don't do it
complaining
to me
about any
now.
of it. I'm just saying the following. You can do whatever you choose. From this moment on, I really don't listen. Vice President Harris, I need for her to win because I look at the alternative. And the alternative is if she doesn't win, that means former President Trump wins. And if former President Trump wins, if you think we're in bad shape now, we're really going to be in horrible shape. So the question is, if we are dealing with the lesser of two evils, as folks would like to put it, I'm going to take the lesser. And the lesser to me is Vice President Harris. So I don't have a lot negative to say about a person I need to win. It's just like if I was rooting for a team and I wanted that team to win, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to probably in private say, hey, y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that. But publicly, hey, my team is strong and this is what my team needs to do to win. That's just where I'm at with
And
it,
that's
man.
why people have problems with hearing the message of going out there and vote because we sugarcoat shit. The bottom line is, I never said we sugarcoat shit. That's why we out here begging people to go out here because because Joe, let me finish then.
Okay.
So what people are saying is the election is close, and you're using my talking points about black people because I brought that up yesterday. What I'm saying is we can critique our side and still promote our side. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. I'm not tearing. I'm not. Why do you keep interrupting me?
Because you do that constantly to me. So now you know how I feel.
No. The bottom line is we can. Let me finish, Joe. Let me finish, or I'll just leave. Let me finish. I sat back and let you finish. Let me finish my damn point.
Go ahead.
Damn. The bottom line is we can critique. I keep saying we know what Trump is. It ain't like I'm elevating Trump. What I'm saying is the bottom line is you can't continue to push the okie doke over people, even if it's your teammate. You got to be authentic. That's all I was saying. You got to get some time off of your talking point. I didn't sit here and gave 10 things that Vice President Harris did wrong. I said she needs to be more authentic. That are some of the things that are coming out of that Charlemagne, the guy that you brought up this morning. I stayed on the point that you brought up. I know she's the best person. That's the person I'm voting for. But if we're going to be doing a podcast, then we got to be objective. And if we're going to be objective, that means we can criticize Trump. We can criticize ours. We can promote ours. And if Trump does something proper, so don't come at me because I raised my voice and I'm passionate about something. I said I'm not tearing her down. I critique one of the things came out of that damn interview. You the one that went all over the place.
Brother Fatim, once again, I'm not saying anything for you to do anything that you don't choose to do. Hopefully you get that. You do you. I'm going to do me. And speaking of which, look at here, look at here. Let me put a smile on my face. Man, stop looking so bad. You look like the Grinch this morning. It ain't
I'm
even
not
close
mad.
to
I'm
Christmas.
fine.
Let's go. Look at
I'm
here. Look who in
fine.
the building. Look who in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ring the bell. Let me hold up. Let me hit
Jack's
every
fault that I'm
horn.
up like this.
Let me hit every horn. Let me hit every horn. Let me hit a round of applause. Look who just showed her face up in the place. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hashtag Truth Be Told with yours truly, Joe Dupree, brother for team, and last but not least, the Arthur, the speaker, the she
Life
everything,
strategies. Yes.
the life strategist, all that good stuff. Sister Jackson's in the building.
And the
Life coach,
tranquilizer
come
for
on,
the team.
come on,
Exactly. I said, let me get up on
come
here real
on.
quick. Got me up here
Hey,
sweating
Sister
fatigue.
Jax, how
Yes,
you
what's up,
doing?
family? I'm
What's
doing
up?
What's
well.
up?
Yes, I'm doing well, family. I'm still hanging on in there, still getting my walk on. Still, busy in therapy, doing my thing. Like you guys talked about earlier in the show, my condolences to the judge that you spoke about. Also my condolences to my beautiful, incredibly beautiful sister-in-law. So we're laying her to rest tomorrow, which is super duper sad and unfortunate, but she was suffering. She was a sickle cell warrior for I think 52, 53 years. And she was, there with her life partner by her side. He is an amazing man, Gerald. They were together forever. And it's unfortunate, but you know what? We all have to transition that way at some point. So at least, Samala, my girl, is no longer suffering. So she was actually going to be a guest on our show. We were, working that out. But she just unfortunately didn't make it. So shout out to Samala, to my nephew Zakari, and to Gerald, and to the rest of the family. So what else is going on? So you guys are
Amen.
talking about the election. Fatin, you ain't beat for it. You ain't too beat for either candidate. I feel you, Fatin, because I definitely understand Joe's side, and I understand you. Oh shoot, can y'all see me?
Nope.
Nope. Dang it, I done clicked on something.
Yes, we
Hold up.
see you. We see
Okay,
you.
No,
okay, my
now
bad.
we see you.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not.
now,
Well, let me
now
just
we see you.
straighten this out, Jax.
Yeah.
Joe brought up about Charlemagne the God.
Yeah.
So
So
I took
right.
one
So let's
point.
make sure Fatin right now.
So I took out. No, we just gonna make sure that you don't turn the shit around. The bottom line is he mentioned Charlemagne the God, and he was like he elevated the interview, and I came out and say no, the interview was not all that great. Even Charlemagne the God critiqued her about her not being able to stray from her talking points, and I was saying the difference between her and former president, or when Senator Obama ran, is about him
She's
being
not Barack.
authentic. Barack,
Not
Senator
Barack.
Obama, what the fuck you on this morning? You on a period? You're a period or something?
Now you must be because she's not
You the one.
Barack.
You see
You,
what- I
you
don't
got to
know.
compare
Senator-
apples to
Senator
apples.
Obama, Senator Barack Obama. It doesn't matter. So the bottom line is, I was saying about authenticity, and I'm saying that if you want to reach the people, people can see through you when you are rigid. And that's the only thing I critiqued this morning. I said, we already know about Donald Trump. We've been talking about him since we've been this podcast. We've been talking since he left office, even before he left office. So I just talk about authenticity. What I'm trying to do is get to the folks to say there's issues with the Democratic Party, just like the Republican Party. And when there's issues, we can critique ours, even if we're promoting that person and know that person. That's all I was saying. That's the basically. Now you can go ahead, Jax. I just want to make sure that my trail is straight.
Yeah.
So,
No,
so
I got you.
Jax, I'm not even going to explain. Hold it. Jax, I'm not even going to explain my side because my side was real simple. I told Fatim, do whatever Fatim chooses to do. He do him, I'm going to do me. I don't have anything to explain. I don't care what Fatim says. At the end of the day, it's his opinion. So now you can speak.
No. I mean, I definitely get both sides of it, and like I always go back to Joe, I love it. When you said maybe 6 months ago, when we were talking about politics and the election and everything, and when you said no matter what, whoever's gonna get in they're gonna get in, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. When you look at the other cultures, the Chinese and the other people that have their little bodegas and stores and all that kind of stuff, they really don't give a damn who gets in office. If they get a perk from it, they get a perk, but guess what? That store is still going to function and roll no matter what. So I'm definitely in that vein of thought. You know, so I leave it up, to the Most High. I know we all have to exercise our power in whatever way, and I know how I'm going to exercise my power. And we got to do what we got to do. But we still know when it's all said and done, we know that God, if you believe, is the one that's going to be in charge of whoever gets in office. So that's who I'm rocking with. That's what I'm rocking
That's
with.
fine, but
That
that
part.
still don't that still don't deal with the issue of authenticity. It doesn't deal with
Yeah.
the issue of some of the just like we had a discussion Sunday on Open Line, and we were talking about when former President Barack Obama came out again and talked to black men. My team was like saying, well, black men is not the issue, black women are not the issue because we vote. And I was trying to explain the narrative that the perception can become the reality. And even though black folks tend to vote Democratic, and probably in that bag, you got a lot of people that may be sitting on the fence. So you have to sometimes you got to stop the bleeding with the narrative that the media is running with, even though it's not factual, right? So they went with that. We went back and forth, and I told them I don't debate them on the numbers because I can't debate the numbers. You guys are right on that. Oh, what does happen? What happens Monday? Vice President Kamala Harris comes out with a plan for black men. Oh,
Yep.
Brother Fatim.
Exactly.
Oh, what happens Tuesday? She's still on that there. So
Yeah,
that's
on
the only thing.
on the
It's not
black
about
train.
being right. It's about understanding what we're in. You can't keep telling people to go out there and vote if you don't understand the issue. You can't give an antidote. Just like a doctor cannot write a prescription until he or she knows the problem. And the problem with us is that we surface scraping too much. Surface scraping and not able to look internal and use cliche. Go out there and vote, go out there and vote, and go out there and vote, and don't break it down. And when you don't break it down, people don't understand.
I agree. And you know what, Fatin, I totally agree with you. And you know what? We could have turned the volume down on that Charlemagne interview or any other interview, and we pretty much could take notes and tell you exactly what she was probably going to say.
Exactly.
So that's just how it is. It's not much deviation now. Now, granted, with the other party, we don't know which damn direction he's gonna go. He's all over the place. We already know that's a basket.
We know that. We know that.
Exactly.
What you said, I completely concur and agree with. From this, I don't listen. We should be able to critique anyone, including ourselves. Like I said, I'm just at a calm, relaxed place. You do you, I'm gonna do me, and I mean that. So I understand that. And yes, we should.
Stop bringing that part up. You don't do that shit when I'm doing Trump. So stop bringing that calm shit up because I don't like that. Don't do that now because I disagree with you, but you don't do that when I'm going on when I'm on your side on the adversary. Don't do that. That's placating me. I don't like that. That's one thing. It's not in my opinion. I don't like that. I don't do that to y'all. Don't do that to me.
Okay, Brother Fatin.
Breathe in deep.
That's
Deep
it.
breath,
No
everybody.
explanation. Just
Deep
don't
breath,
do that.
everybody.
Don't do
In
that
through
to
your
me.
nose, out through your mouth.
So,
Even our
That's
viewers.
right. Just don't do that to me. When I
Brother
say don't
Fatin,
do something, just don't do something. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Thank you.
So wait,
It's a good time.
It's cold out there, Fatin, huh? What's the weather where you are, Fatin?
Yeah, you gotta do something. Hold it, be
I
exact.
guess it's cold out there.
Hold up. Let me do this. With times like this, guess what? Here come my man Sean P. Sean P, what the book for today, man? Give us a book to elevate us, to put us in a place where we need to read. Turn your mic on, man.
Yes, sir. What it is, family? How y'all doing? Good morning out there, man. First and foremost, man, I'm always blessed to be here with you guys once a month, man. I love coming in. I had a privilege last month filling in, but trying to fill in for Jax. I'm glad you back, my sister. Large shoes to fill. I try to get in there somewhere, but I enjoy
a phenomenal job.
Thank you. So today's book, I have the young adult adopted version of Barracoon by Dr. Ibram X. Kendi. Right? This book came out at the top of the year. I was blessed to go to New Orleans, Louisiana at Baldwin and Company, one of the best Black-owned bookstores in the country. You hear me? Not the state, in the country. And I saw Dr. Ibram X. Kendi in person. I have my autographed copy of Barracoon. And this is the new rendition of this classical book. The original Zora Neale Hurston Barracoon came out in 2018, right? So she started working on this story back in the 1920s. No publisher would pick it up. Nobody would get it. Of course, after her death, They get all the documents and the manuscripts and everything brushed off, and it's finally published 2018. But then Dr. Eva Metz Kendi said, you know what? Our young folks need to get a version for them. And I love the images in here. They had a phenomenal black artist in here bringing these images to life. These wonderful images of the slave trade and what we went through, and the last known slave being the brother Cujo out there in Alabama. So we got Barracoon, the book of the month.
Wow, I didn't even know nothing about this guy, Cujo Lewis, right?
That's right, Cujo Lewis. That's right.
Cujo.
The last of the human cargo. That's right.
Wow, isn't that something? I didn't know anything about it. I'm reading on it now.
Yes, sir.
So great book, man. Give us the synopsis. That book is available everywhere and on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everywhere.
Yes.
You know, that's the thing, you know, and guess what impressed me right now? You brought up a book that my good friend, Brother Fatim, and Brother Fatim knows books, knows subject, knows a lot, said that, man, this is something you brought up that I didn't know. So, man, keep talking about this book, man, and about, you know, this is why we bring guys like Sean on here to tell you, go get it. It's out there.
So
you know,
this book is,
we don't know.
This book is made for young readers, right? But I'm gonna also implore the adult audience. For myself, the past year, I love to find the young adult version of a lot of books. There's the book Just Mercy, Brian Stevenson. There's the young adult version of that. The 1619 Project.
We need to go see Brian. Me and you need to get on the road and go to Montgomery and sit down with Brian.
I'm about that. I want to see that city he has out there, man.
Go back to that 6, because you said something that you're also going down another lane that I've never really heard of. That there's a younger versions to a lot of books, and you said the 1619 Project. There's a younger version to the 1619. Do you know the name of that book?
Not off the top of my head, I don't know. It's not hard to find. It's on Amazon, of course. All the major. It's not hard to find. But also,
you know what, Sean? You know what else, real quick? So, Brother Fatim, you know Malcolm X, right? The autobiography, but then the younger version for kids is this one.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. And they got about 4 of those. Wow. They got about 4 of those. Malcolm X's daughter made those books. One of his daughters made those books. So they got about 4 of those.
That's right.
Yeah.
And no, but that's so wise, because guess what? All children cannot, swallow something like this, right? But when it's in the, younger version, like you're saying, Sean, it makes a big difference. And even for some adults sometimes that have sometimes reading, issues, or may not have been able to read on grade level when they were younger, reading the younger version, and it still doesn't look like a baby cartoon, but it's still sometimes easier for them to read, digest, and to understand and comprehend.
Well,
so
and I have the name, the 1619 Project, Born on the Water.
Yes,
a lyrical
Born on the
picture,
Water.
Picture book in verse that's suitable for readers age 6 through 10 and grades 2 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, I find even as a grown person, reading the young adult version of something first give me an overall understanding and the overall concept before I go into the bigger things. So even with the Bible, man, there's Joe would love this. There's an action Bible, and there's some actual Marvel comic illustrators. They made the action Bible. It's a phenomenal book. So I read a Bible story in that, and then go to the actual Bible.
Yeah,
you got the visual in your mind, like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Like, it's connecting the whole thing together. I'm big on that for everybody, man. There's all these articles going on right now about the amount of elite college students that can't read. Have y'all seen that article going out there?
Yes, I did.
Elite college, they can't read, bro. So this is why this is important. Why am I doing this every book?
Was it on students, or was it on some college professors also? Because
the students.
They also in that article said that a lot of that has to do. They took that back to the high school. They said, they didn't put it on the college professors so much. They said that there are people coming from high school that have absolutely no reading skills, because in high school, unlike when we were in high school, like when I was in high school in the 80s, they don't make folks read no more. There's no book club that, they don't have to read.
I've heard educators tell me that they found out that their children in school right now, they're getting like little worksheets to read. They're not turning actual pages in books. They're not handling books.
Yeah.
They can't read something and they give it back to you, spit it out. The character was going through this the arc, this the climax, this the rise, and they can't do that. They can't make those connections. They can't draw those lines, man. So what we're
Yeah.
doing here is important, man.
So let's
And
zero
you
in
know,
on
also,
that.
wait 1 second, team, because
Go
also when
ahead.
you look at it, we're so used to short burst of information, right? So when we look at TikTok and social media, they can get a whole they can get what they think is the full story in all of 25 seconds, and now they think they're master on whatever the content area is. So when they're given those little worksheets, the teachers are like, well, that's about all they're going to comprehend anyway.
Yeah.
But then when you even dial back further to these children who are in college, these young adults that are in college and are juniors and seniors in high school, guess what? When they were in younger grades, COVID jumped off. So a lot of those children sometimes were not doing online learning. They didn't have
Yeah,
laptops.
yeah,
There was a huge gap and
yeah.
deficiency in that. So now that they're at college level or mid high school level, they lost so much. Now imagine losing all of that during COVID, but already prior to that, you still weren't, quite on point. Right.
Right.
So now you're at a total deficit. But many times what the teachers do, they kind of just pass the kids along, pass them along and
Yep.
get them to a certain level. And you know what? There's children that cannot even read at all, but people don't realize you can still get your driver's license even if you are illiterate. They will verbally read the test to you. DMV will verbally read the
Really?
It's
test
very
to you.
true. Very
Really?
true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very
They
true.
will read it.
Wow.
Very
Yep.
true.
Go ahead,
So
Fatim.
let's zero in on this. I don't know what's going on in Newark, and you know that Newark, the state was in control of the education system to recently during Mayor Baraka's years, which we had him on this past Sunday. This goes back. You talk about COVID. My kids are grown, right?
Yeah.
And you go back to elementary school, and I brought this up because I had to go against my host,
Mhm.
Bob Slade, M. Toomey, and Bob Pickett, because these brothers, I have so much respect for them.
Mhm.
But they dealt with an issue in New York when I told you before, they used the uniform as smokescreen. Now, we talked about this, that uniforms are good and that, but the point was, it wasn't about being good or bad. It was a smokescreen to take the attention off of now no new books coming in, and also Rexograph sheets, as Brother Sean and what you just said, that was given out to the students where they didn't have new books and they were not even ordering books. So when I brought that up, I had to shut those brothers down. You guys live in Jersey. You guys can't really talk on New York. My kids are in this school system. They have to deal with this. And it's not just about my kids, it's the village here. And that's why we have to challenge the Department of Education to say, listen, that's why it's important not just to go to parent-teacher conferences, but to know what's going on with your children. Because like you said, they're taking books out of schools, but they're not putting books into schools. And you're right, when they give you this Rexograph paper, you so right, Jax. How do you really understand when it's just on one paper? You understand what I'm saying? Or really, you can comprehend what you hear, but then you understand the whole context of it. And that's why folks need to understand the problem so you can deal with the antidote for the problem.
Let's go into what y'all was talking about before I came on the air. Y'all was already going in hot and heavy. But like, if you can't really comprehend and read things well, but you're trying to read something about the presidency real quick, you're trying to read something about what somebody's supposedly saying, you can't even understand the context and break down what the article even saying.
Absolutely. And you
And
know
you're
what?
trying to make an informed decision about what you're voting on. You can't go into that booth and even read the ballot stuff right. All the other laws getting passed and legislation getting passed. You clicking on anything, you just clicking. You don't understand it, you just clicking.
Yeah. Now
Brother Sean.
let's tie that real quick, Joe. I just want to tie what he's
Go ahead.
saying into crime, right? So when we look at the literacy level in crime, our children are so into instant gratification, right? So when they read one of those little worksheets, they got to get the answer boom like that, because it's not much words for them to even read to come up with the conclusion. So it's the same thing when you read a book, like you said, guys. When you read a book, it's like a journey. You're taking your mind on a journey. It's like it builds up. You read the little stuff in the beginning, and then it climaxes eventually, and then it fades out. Like it's a whole journey. So it's teaching you patience and diligence, and it makes you eager to understand or figure out what's going to happen to that particular character. But when you have a small passage and everything is 2 or 3 sentences away from one another, you got to get that answer right away. So that's the same thing with children in crime. If you think about our communities with crime, they don't have the patience or diligence to kind of work through whatever problem they have with their brother or sister. They want to resolve right away. So they don't have a problem pulling that trigger fast, right? Same thing if you think about them with drugs. They want to feel different. They want that instant gratification with drugs or drinking. They want it right away. They don't have time for that journey to go through. So that's why it's so important for us to have books in our home. I mean, I got a big book basket up there from when my kids were small. Like, you got to have books. And I've been around children sometimes, y'all, for weeks at a time, and the parents won't pull out not one book. It'll be a tablet, a laptop, an iPad, a cell phone. But I'm around so many children and parents will not pull out a book. And I'm like, dang, these kids are at this location every week, but you never see them with a book. Never. And that's a problem. So it goes back a lot to the parents. When my daughter
Yeah,
was in the 5th grade, I
yeah.
found some test scores the other day. My daughter said, Mommy, I can't do math. I must have a learning disability. So she was like, Mommy, get me tested at school. I was like, all right, punk, I'll get you tested. I got her tested. I was looking, and she's in 12th grade now. I found the results the other day when I was going through some papers. When she was in the 5th grade, she was graded in reading at a master's level, master's degree level, post high school, post college, in the 5th grade. Why? I read to her constantly. I had book baskets every room in the house, in the car, books. If we waiting in line, she got a book. Same thing with my son. So a lot of it still not
Yeah.
only falls on the school district, but the
No, it's on the
parents.
house. It's on the
The
house.
parents got to do a
It's
better
on the
job.
house. It's on the
Yep.
house.
And
So
if you're an
It's
auntie
on the
or
house.
uncle and you see that your damn niece and nephew not reading, or your little cousin or the little neighbor, it's your responsibility to give them a book,
So,
because if their parent doesn't know, it's your responsibility.
hey,
Jack,
and that's Jax, and that's very serious. And Sean and Fatim and y'all all will agree with this. You brought up about certain things that you're not able to read. How many times have you walked into a voting booth and there is an amendment? Let's
Mhm.
forget about you clicking on a person. There is an amendment for a taxing law, or there is an amendment for a rededication of something that is, believes it or not, that will affect your pockets more than the individual that you're clicking to vote for. And
Mhm.
folks are sitting there going, man, I don't even know what this is. Well, what is this? Because there are educated folks that sometimes depend on
yes,
other educated folks to
yes.
say, hey, man, I don't understand this amendment. So if I vote yes, what does that really do? And if I vote no, and see, that's the point. That's where reading is so fundamental, and understanding the
And
context of what you're reading. Brother Shine, the floor is yours, bro.
no, I was gonna say, like Sister Jax just said,
Mhm.
some of our old school households, there were books everywhere. There was
Yes.
Encyclopedia Britannica
Come on.
everywhere, and National Geographic, and my grandfather always had 5 and 6 papers coming to the house all the time. So it was always just reading everywhere for a lot of
That's
our childhood. But that's so far removed now, is my point. So besides school at the actual house, a child not really seeing no adult around them picking up books like that, man, reading like that.
Yeah, you're
No,
right. But
and
you know
one
what?
of the things, Sean, one of the things, Sean, is
yeah, go ahead.
one of the things is you talked about, you mentioned, about the Marvel Bible, and you look at back when we were younger, we had, and they're still out there, the comic books. And if you realize, and
Still
Joe
collect
knows
them.
this because
Still collect them. Still collect them.
when you read those comic books, you got to realize that the words in there, they have some very high, strong vocabulary words.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
they
by
did.
being in, but you guys are in, and even when I'm in South Carolina, you don't see what we see in the large cities, New York, Newark, Chicago, and this, that, and the other, the newsstands. And the newsstands have dwindled. Like when you used to go into the train stations or walk or go into any convenience store, they had racks of magazines,
Yes.
newspapers, and things like
Yes.
that. They don't have that anymore.
That's
They
right.
don't
Let me ask
have
y'all a
that
question.
anymore. So
Let me ask y'all a
what?
question.
They don't. And then when younger people, when they were even Jax, you know this, in Newark, and they might still have it, but it's not as abundant, is
Yeah.
people selling urban books on the
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
And I
Period.
remember some of the pompous Negroes was like, oh, that's not literature. But I'm
Yeah.
saying if it could be a bridge for our young folks to read, to get them into the concept of reading.
That's
But
right.
sometimes you're so blinded that you don't see that. Now we don't have that
And
Yeah.
where do our children get chance to read is what
Yeah.
you said, Jax, earlier.
Mm.
This here.
That's
And
right.
that's the problem. And if they don't read on here, and everything is about pictures, most of it now. Anyway.
Let me ask
You're right.
y'all this question. A sister asked me the question a couple of days ago, right? She in DC. When you ever go somewhere and see a person sitting there just reading the magazine?
Yeah.
When you see a person at a doctor office or a dentist office, they sitting there, they waiting and they have a magazine. When you see a person just an OG with a paper, just
Yeah.
old man with
Yeah.
a paper, I don't see
Yeah.
that
You
guy no
don't.
more.
Hear what you see. Hear what you see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
Sean, somebody
even
asked.
in the bathroom back in the day, back in the day, you have a magazine rack in the doggone bathroom,
Exactly.
right?
So
But let me just say
family.
this real quick, Sean.
Yeah, go
People
ahead.
said, somebody asked this question.
Okay.
Fatim, what would you rather, a book or one of these, a phone, or, they got those tablets?
Mhm.
And I said that I would rather it be a book because of the optics for our younger folks and even
Yeah.
some of our adults, because adults have walked up to me and said, I haven't seen a person read a book in a while.
You said
So
that on
I-
one of our prior podcasts, brother Fatim. You said that.
Always get that.
You said
I
that.
always get that. Always get that. Always get
For
that.
sure. And you know what
Yeah.
else? Like, I love when you talked about encyclopedias, Brother Sean, because
Yes,
in
ma'am.
encyclopedias, it's almost like reading the Bible, right? When you happen
Yeah.
to go to the Bible for a particular verse, you never just read that verse and stop. You just
No, you
naturally
gonna
want
go.
to see what happens next, and you read the whole doggone chapter daggone there, right? So same thing. If a kid had to do an assignment and they had to look up cellular whatever in a molecules or something in an encyclopedia, before you know it, they're flipping through the pages and they see other stuff that sparks an interest and they continue to read. So
Yeah.
even as parents, or caregivers, when we have books in our home, we can still mold and shape the minds of our children. So I found two of the books that my kids used to love to read. And I know this is just segment, Brother Sean, but I just happen to have these books
No,
always
this
around
is
me.
ours.
So look,
We a family. Go ahead.
that's
Go
right. So
ahead.
look, so my
Speak,
kids love
Sean.
these books when they
Yeah,
were little. It's
we a
called
family. Yeah.
yeah, so I introduced my
Yep.
kids to politics at a young age. So Duck for President, right? So the whole book, is a duck running for president and about campaigning and life and
And the
stuff. Here's
sitting
another
duck.
one.
Right. Yeah.
Don't
Yep.
you got a
Right.
duck running for president right now? What are you
Yeah, I
talking
know. That's
about?
hilarious.
It's like a double line. It's a double line time. Go ahead.
That's yeah, exactly.
Donald Duck
And,
running for president. But go
and
ahead.
so look, here's another one. Courthouse. What is this one called? Oh yeah, Marshall the Courthouse Mouse, right? So it has the Supreme Court, the little people on the
Right.
Supreme Court,
He's
right?
the brown mouse, right?
Yeah.
Jax.
Yep.
When you was going, Jax, I told Joe, brother Fatim, so many things could be alleviated with all these arguments
Yep.
if people had a simple 5th grade civics class.
Yeah,
Come on.
Understand the Congress, understand the House,
Come
understand
on.
the Senate,
Yep.
understand.
Exactly.
on.
Look, Martin Luther King, a little kid's book about Martin Luther King. So I was molding my children's minds when they were small. Then I flip it to whoever you are, wherever you are. This book tells them about people in different countries and how to get along with people and love and respect. A book about mommies. The mommy book was one of their favorite ones. It's okay to be different. Todd Parr is a great author. My children used to love this book as well, to let them know, like, you could be short, tall, fat, skinny. It's okay to be different, right? And so we can mold the minds of our children by giving them these books. But guess what? When we just let them use their phones or tablets, somebody else is molding the minds of your children. So that's what we have to be careful of. So the power rests within our hands and within the walls of our own home.
And Jack,
Exactly.
a pastor told me, if your child got a cell phone, you let 5 billion people have access to your child.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
That part.
Five,
That part.
how many billion
That's
people on the
insane.
planet got access to your child with that
Yeah.
cell phone?
That's right. That's right. And parents also have to realize, when you're reading to your children, kids like repetitiveness. So you're not just going to necessarily read the book one time and that's it. They might want for an entire week to read that same book every night before bed, or every morning when they wake up. But as parents, we have to be disciplined enough and say, you know what, if that's what my child wants to read again, I know sometimes I'll be like, God dang, I gotta read this book again. But if that's what they want, because every time they're pulling something different out of it. So if we have to wake up 10 minutes early or prepare them for bed 10 minutes earlier so that we could take that last little 10 minutes to read to them before bed, or make sure they're reading before they go to bed. Don't send your kids in their room to go to bed with a tablet or an iPad or a laptop or a phone. Let them go to bed with a book.
You know what I realized in hindsight, man. A lot of our earlier church days, we didn't like doing it sometimes, but to have to learn the actual books of the Bible, like what Peter at? Where's Zechariah? Where's this?
Where Hagar.
Look,
Right.
Exactly.
going to church now, modern day church. When
Yeah.
Pastor said we go into Romans, blah blah blah. Let me know when y'all have it.
They
People
can't
They
not
find
got
it.
it.
doing that.
Hey, hold it.
Yep.
They got it in
People not doing
alphabetical.
this.
Hold it. They got an app on their phone that puts
Yep.
it in alphabetical order, and they don't even know the chronological order in the Bible that the
That's
books
right.
are. If
And
you
yep.
put it in chronological order, they're lost.
Yeah, exactly. And
Period.
you know what? It's funny. I still remember
They
being
don't
at
know if
Bible.
it's new. They don't know if it's New
Yeah.
Testament, Old Testament. They don't know where's.
They don't know. Nope.
Right.
I still remember. That's why it's so important to invest in your children when they're young. I remember going to church for Bible study and children's Bible study as a kid, and my Aunt Alicia would be, teaching us the song. So I still remember, after you sing the words, then Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. I remember that from when I was a little girl.
Right.
So
You know what I'm saying?
that's why you got to pour into your kids, and like Scripture says, when they're old, they will not depart from it. You know what I'm saying? So even
Yeah,
if you stray a little
but
bit, if the Most High gives you strength to come on back, you still got that so deeply embedded in your core that it becomes who you are if you allow it and
my
not let
my
demons take over.
my point in raising that is we had these actual Bible lessons, right? You had to
Yes.
actually go through the story, underline, highlight, answer some questions, and then
Yep.
raise your hand.
Yeah.
But you're learning how to annotate. You're learning how to note take.
That's
You're learning
right.
all
Right.
these skills once again that you
Mhm.
use in everyday classroom, everyday part of life.
Right. Simple
Yep.
things like how many Hebrew boys was in the fiery furnace? Can
Yeah.
you name the Hebrew boys? Who was the king that put them in the furnace? What
That's
Yeah.
right.
happened when they tried to take them out the furnace? How
You be
many
like,
soldiers got burnt?
Yeah.
oh,
Right, right,
oh,
right. Come
Yeah.
oh,
on,
Joe.
come
Yeah.
on now.
Well,
Come
and
on.
then you got to understand the technique of learning, because when you say, as Joe said earlier, learning is fundamental.
Fun for the middle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you got to learn the technique, because a lot of times when we look like right now, and I remember when I in pre-calculus I got an A. In
Oh no, my
pre-calculus
daughter
is
needs
nothing
tutoring in
but
that. For teen, you still
huh?
good at that? I'm about to get my daughter a tutor in pre-calc. You still good at it?
I haven't done it in a while, but pre-calc is nothing but really trigonometry, then a little bit of calculus at the end. I got a B in calculus. I came home from college and I taught my cousin, who's a math teacher, who I
Mm.
bring on my show as a kingologist to deal with Dr. King. I taught him calculus.
Oh
And
wow.
now, as a math teacher, he has found other ways. And a lot of people on social media, you're starting to see people do math and you're starting to see it much done easier, because a lot of ways in the Western society, I'm not here to criticize,
Mhm.
but to really point out is how we teach things.
Yeah.
Just like how we learn things, as you said, underlining things. Remember, Sean, we remember in pictures.
Look at my books,
We don't
man.
write.
My
We
books
right.
all marked up.
You
All
mark them
Yeah.
marked
up,
up.
but
Amen.
you remember in pictures. And I remember I asked my cousin, "How do you remember all these things?" And he gave me 2 books, and it was dealing with memory. And just like when Jack went down the list of those Bibles in the Old Testament just now, those things you could create a visual of that. And sometimes you create a story that's crazy that you remember.
Mhm.
That's how we remember. That's why we remember in pictures. But a lot of times we don't know how to teach our children how to
Mhm.
learn. We'll tell them to go read, we'll
Yeah.
tell them to go do this, but we don't know the fundamentals of teaching them so that they can retain it. That's what it's about. You can learn something and lose it, but learn something and be a sponge and retain it. And then the last thing, you can teach them the math and the book, this, that, and other, but they could go on the street corner and run the drug game.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so if they can run the
Yep.
drug game and run a drug enterprise, they can do this. It's
That's
how
right.
it's being done, what is interest, and what is their value in it. And when they don't see their value in it, when they got it and they're running, their money is short. You
Yep.
understand? A lot of pimps were illiterate, but they
Yeah.
ran that because they understood the foundation. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I'm not promoting that, but what I'm saying, we can exercise our mind to learn whatever we choose to and how we go about it. That's why you said what you said, Jack. What we have to take control in between our walls here is
Mhm.
Yes,
educating our children. That's
yes.
so important.
And
That's
you've
right.
got to understand, you brought up something about illiteracy, and I can speak to this because the 2 individuals that adopted me, Mr. Lois Anderson, who was born in 1910, and Miss Earlene Anderson, who was born in 1923, they could not, but they still managed life and managed the family well. There's not a day I can tell you that I knew my dad when he didn't have that he was broke. I can't tell you a day of my tenure of being their adopted child to the day he passed away that he was broke. The man, and what he didn't know, he had a system of understanding it. Bills were always paid. I can't tell you a day that my dad was late on a bill. I can't. I can't. So you're right. It's so much the way that we teach we teach
Look
a
how
person.
many.
Yeah, go
Look how
ahead.
many of our greatest people, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, fourth grade education. If we can name other great people that we had in our lineage, under fifth grade education, but they became able to run circles around PhDs. You know what I'm saying? Like they were autodidact, being able to teach themselves.
Malcolm, look at Malcolm. Look at Malcolm X.
Yeah.
You talk about honoring Elijah Muhammad that Malcolm learned from, who basically you just said the fourth education. Malcolm goes to jail, utilizes a bad situation to turn it into a positive situation, and then goes into Harvard and other places and educate them.
That's right.
And tear them up. Tear them up too. Tear them up.
And here's the sad thing about it. In these days and times, in the times that we are in, individuals with that type of intellect are shunned upon. Shunned upon, sadly, by us. Not I forget them other folks. Forget them non-melanated folks. Us melanated folks. Your degree does not come from here.
Look at the NBA player, Jalen. I think his name is Jalen Brown, right? The play for the Boston Celtics, right?
Jalen Brown or Jalen Rose?
No, Brown. Jalen Brown, the current NBA player, play for the Celtics, right? Won the MVP and all that kind of stuff. This guy could have went to MIT and things like that. This guy could have went to actual NASA. This guy was on an early collegiate chess team, killing it, like super intellect. They say he is unmarketable. Quotation. He is unmarketable, Joe. Whenever you that smart, whenever you that short, you don't just go for the bait. You're unmarketable. But if you Ja Morant with some gun charges, or if you Zion doing some other stuff, you know, you do that's marketable. Nike want that.
If I'm banging, if I'm banging, or as Brother Petit would say, if I'm banging, y'all can put me out there. Come on, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, Sean.
They want that ignorant. They want that ignorant.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You ain't gonna drop that in here and let's don't drill down on it. Let's talk about that unmarketable thing. Let's talk about what they tend to market. Do they market that? Do they market that which will inspire and motivate people and build consciousness? Or do they market? This is something that when John Amos passed, we talked about dealing with good times, is that they wanted to market JJ over the father and the family structure of the mother and father. So why is it? And that's why we have to drill down. Why is it that they don't market that? See, that's why we say when we don't control the narrative, we can't control the story. And when we can't control the story, then they give us what they want to give us and feed us. And then it goes in our conscious and then our subconscious mind, subliminal messages that are there. So let's talk about why they tend to do that.
Brother Patine, whenever Kyrie Irving started talking a little too smart and a little too intelligent,
that's right.
You see what they did? You gotta reel that thing back. You gotta reel that thing back.
The propaganda machine all of a sudden says, guess who you are? You're a hate monger.
No.
You're a this, that, these,
and
those.
And they get your own kind to go against you, like Charles Barkley and other them. They do that. They tend to get those. Same thing with Muhammad Ali. They get your own kind to go against your own people.
Yeah.
It's different being constructive about something, but again, it's different being constructive about something and being destructive about something. That's the difference.
I don't have a physical copy. It's in my Kindle. I'm reading the Craig Hodges book, right? The Craig Hodges book. It's called Long Shot. It's on Amazon. Long Shot, Craig Hodges. The original Colin Kaepernick, right? The original one to get blackballed from the league. He was saying how much Michael Jordan didn't want to stand on side of him. how much these marketable guys didn't want to stand on side of him in his
Mhm.
Muslim faith. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
He's standing 10 toes down. He's a well super educated guy. They don't
Mhm.
want to be around that. They don't want to stand around that.
That's right.
Social
That's right.
justice,
See,
political
And you know what?
consciousness, they don't want to be around that.
And y'all talk about propaganda, Joe. You always talk about the propaganda machine. So, Fatina, to
Mm.
answer your question as well, I always look at America from a psychological perspective, right? So I look at it like the great propaganda machine, Joe, but I also flip it to Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen syndrome by proxy. So
Mm-hmm.
that makes me think like when a mother, especially, or anyone suffering from that, what they'll do is they'll make their baby sick, but then they'll be the same one that gives the baby the antidote to make them feel better, right?
Mm.
But they're all like, oh, my baby's so sick. Oh my God, I don't know what's going on. And they look like the best mom in the world taking care of that baby and trying to nurse them back to health. But they're the same ones when nobody's looking, giving them poison to kill them at the same time.
Mm.
So
Well,
America is the same way. America is the
mm.
same way, especially to us as a black people. They want to
exactly.
make themselves feel like they're doing something to help us, but they're trying to kill us and destroy us all at the same time.
Six
And we
Exactly.
keep
minutes.
falling for it.
I'm
6
going to
minutes.
share something with Joe, and I hope he can play it today. And, you talked about Colin Kaepernick just now. And, and I got a chance to meet the brother, a very intelligent brother, very on point, and a brother who stands on principle.
And he and his
Kappa
wife
Yes,
Alpha
just
sir.
wrote a
Psi.
book also. He and his wife just wrote a book.
Yeah,
He,
exactly.
he got a few
Nessa, who
books.
works for my
He
sister
got a
Okay.
whole
station.
publishing company, Kaepernick
Yeah,
Publishing.
yeah, he
Exactly.
do.
Whole
He do.
company.
He do.
Beautiful.
So let me just take you back. How many of y'all, y'all should know this. So I'm not putting it out there to stump anybody. Do y'all know how powerful Jim Brown was?
Mm.
Do y'all know how powerful this black man was? And he
Richard
walked
Pryor
away
said
from football.
you
And
don't
he
mess with
walked
Jim Brown.
away from football. I didn't
Don't mess
know
with
he
Jim Brown.
created certain black businesses. I'm gonna send this to you in a minute, Joe. I want you to play this because Jim Brown was speaking on the show. I'm glad I got a chance to know Jim Brown before he passed. But Jim Brown was back then, and that's what I'm saying. We are in 2024. That's why I guess I get so anxious and upset at times because I just don't see the progress and I just see us falling backwards. Jim Brown is in the 70s. Black businesses, money, power. You understand what I'm saying? And we are asking for crumbs today and settling for mediocrity. That's why I get so passionate because it hurts me to see this with us as a people, and then for us to fall for the damn okie doke. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about understanding where we came from. And if you are not advanced from the 70s and you're behind that in 2024, then our children's future is in
That's
jeopardy,
Well,
man.
Because
brother
Fatine, we don't
Fatine.
want to stand. We don't want to stand for anything nowadays. It's too hard
Damn
for
right.
people to stand for something.
Well,
They rather close
brother
their eyes and
Fatine.
plug their ears and act like it doesn't exist, rather than
Thank you.
standing up and being
Well,
courageous.
well, brother Fatim and sister Jax as I bring in brother Martinez and brother Polidor. If you need to stay, you can, and if you need to go, you can go. Great, always telling us about the books. You're welcome to stay if you like to. But let's say this. Let's just be real about something. And this is going to be hurtful because it's hurtful to myself. So the first person I try to auto-correct is me. Too many times, us new elders, me being one of them, are too busy trying to cling on to not being an elder because we still want to be young. The truth about it is I'm 57 years old. I am now one of the elders that I used to talk about to be like, what them old dudes talking about? I'm that old dude now. And I need to be more responsible with my rhetoric and how I communicate to those who are looking up to me instead of me trying to coalesce and be a part of what they are. I need to understand I'm an elder now, and they look at me as an elder, and I need to act as an elder. But too many times, some of us who are elders are still trying to be that 20-year-old, that 30-year-old, instead of being the elder that we are. I'm not in my 20s no more. To be exact,
Hey,
I
Joe.
have children. I have children in 20s, and I have children in their 30s. That I am, I have a 37-year-old that I am his father. So you know, if I can speak life into my 37-year-old, I can speak life to anybody under 37-year-old. But here's the crazy thing. We got guys who are my age, who are trying to date 37-year-olds, who are trying to date 20-year-olds, who are trying to be with 20-year-olds. They're not trying to elevate them. They trying to procreate with them, you know. So we got to understand. I'm an elder now. I'm listen. I'm not saying, I understand that it's something when we say, no, I'm not old, I'm wise, I'm seasoned. But no, I am an elder now, and I need
Wait,
to
Joe, am I
conduct
an elder now
myself as
too?
such because
Joe,
there
am I
are
an elder now
young folks
too?
watching. With
Yeah.
that being said, huh?
I said,
Say
wait,
what?
am I an elder now too, Joe? I never thought about that. Am I elder? Am I an elder?
No,
I-
Jax.
It
No,
it
Jax.
it,
Ravishing.
No,
it just
Jax.
hit me. It just hit me. But hey, you got to know who you are, brother. Ravis Martinez is in the building.
Morning. Morning.
Brother Martinez, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well.
NAACP
Look,
president, local chapter here, and a good friend of mine, and a wise man who is on here because I have to ask the question, man, we are 3 weeks away from an election. And what is the NAACP? What is some of the organizations? Let's just deal with the one that I know you're the president of locally. What are they saying to the people when it comes down to this election that is really going to determine the next 4 years of American life here in the country that we live in called the US of A? Brother Martinez.
yeah, good morning, team. You know, you asked me how I was doing, you know, before I start. I'm just gonna tell you straight up, I'm not in a good mood today, Joe.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
devastated.
We both there. Yeah.
You know, the passing of Judge Jules Edwards is a major blow to this community.
Mm-hmm.
Any community where a Black man has stood up and been a principled person, a family man, has exhibited and honorable in every single way, to be lost like that. Somebody that we know was in the fight. He was a member of the NAACP. He was one person that showed up. He was the highest ranking person that showed up to these meetings. And so for me, you know, looking at that loss is very difficult. You know, I just want to start there. You said something a little earlier for team. I was listening to you guys, and you talked about books, reading, and intellectual growth, individual growth through books. And you know, I was sitting here, I was just laughing because, you know, Sean, when you talked about Elijah Muhammad, the first person that came to my mind was Malcolm X and his individual growth. That knowledge brought him to the nation and then through the nation. And so I've always been a real big advocate for reading, for books. Sean, you know, you still got one of mine. I want it back. But you know, as I sit here and I'm thinking about, hey, we're literally 3 weeks away from this election. I know everybody I know and associate with is voting for Kamala Harris. I don't have anybody that's voting for Trump in my world at all. And it's probably because I'm principled enough to say, hey, if you're voting for somebody with that type of animosity against me and my kids and Black women, then I have no reason to even deal with you at all. I don't dislike you as a person because, you know, I have to love you as a human, but I don't have to deal with you at all because your motives, your position are totally against what I'm trying to do. The NAACP and other organizations have been working tirelessly to try to bring some clarity to Project 2025, some clarity to voting rules and regulations that have been shifting and shift continuously in our community. You see, that's a national tactic where we're kicking folks off the voter roll. So the NAACP and other organizations are filing lawsuits. They're getting into the process of ensuring that folks know and understand that they are on the voting rolls. I think the last day to vote has passed, but that was a real big issue over these past 3 weeks, getting folks checked out just to ensure that they're still on the rolls. Because guys, that's a real tactic that folks are using. We're still in court from the state party, ensuring that this new congressional district is something that's going to be viable and that stays for us. It's a new minority majority district for us in this state of Louisiana. And we're trying to make sure that folks get to the poll. The reality is we already have the votes. Democrats, African-American minorities, we have the votes right now to run every race in this country, specifically in this state of Louisiana. We just don't show up. We don't care enough to show up to vote. We talked about our grandparents. We talked about, what they went through. The reality is these folks are still working to deny your vote. And if we're not working and letting folks know that it's not only a need, but it's critical, it's downright critical. And I have no time to waste. So if I walk up to you, Joe, and this is me personally, this ain't me as an organization, this is me personally. Hey, are you ready to vote? Oh, I'm not into that jazz. You know what I'm telling you? Kick rocks. I have no space. I have no space and time in this moment. Because if anything's going to impact my 3 daughters' lives, anything's going to impact my wife's lives, my sister, my twin sister, my mother, the women that I know, it's going to be this election. No other election. I mean, Trump before, he really impacted us. That's why we have the issues we have now with reproductive rights for women. But if we don't win this election, I just don't know what road we're going to head down. In this community this week, there's going to be a legislative recap where we're asking our Black politicians to come and tell the people what they've been doing these past sessions or their past year representing us. So far, only one has confirmed to show up.
And who's that?
A.B. Rubin, district, who is, a parish councilman, District 5 parish councilman. Other than that, there's nobody coming to speak to our community that we send there to tell us what's going on, how they're representing us, or to motivate people to participate in this process. So for me, it's double hard when we don't have the right folks out there that should be holding the baton, should be holding the microphone and yelling at the top of their lungs about the importance of this election. We just don't have that.
Panel?
Let me just say, Brother Martinet, you summed up a lot, and what you said is factual. And it's heartbreaking to the latter part, what you just said about who tends to come out there. And like I said earlier, that it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand where we at. And I agree with you, kick rocks, because sometimes we just waste. That's why I say on the show, sometimes we just waste our breath on repeating the same thing over and over without just saying we need to move on. We got to leave those people that ain't going to join because they ain't coming, and just move on and coalition build. That's why I guess I get so hot and passionate, because we have to build forward, and we got to also be able to, as we're building forward and understanding what's at hand. Like you just said, you don't know, ain't nobody on here most likely is voting for Trump. We know that. We know. But at the same time, we know we have some issues that we got to deal with. We can't just look at this like we just riding a bike. Right. We got to avoid the pit holes. We got to maintain the bike. And what I'm saying is, if we're part of the Democratic Party, there are some ills and issues that we need to deal with. And if we are authentic, if the people feel that you're real, because some people, like you say, they just don't show up because they feel whatever the reason they don't show up. A lot of people are hurt because it's the same process over and over and over. They promise, they come up to an election day. This is what came up in the interview. I just read a whole report again just now. And that's what some Black folks are saying to Vice President Kamala Harris. You came out Monday with black men. You only came out that after President Obama said this about black men. And then Roland Martin last week put out a call to black men. And the person that called into Charlemagne's show yesterday, or the other day, yesterday, basically said, why now? And that's why some people feel that apathy, that you only deal with it when your back is against the wall. And when you authentic, that's why I use former President Obama, is that, or I can go back to Bill Clinton. I can go back to Bill Clinton. It's not just about black, or it's not about black, it's about people in politics being authentic.
Yes.
I'm not a big Mike Bloomberg governor. He was a Republican. I voted for him because he seemed more authentic than the Democrat. The Democrat did the same thing that the Democrats tend to do, is deal with the same old okie doke, the same thing on that hamster wheel. And when Mike Bloomberg came, he was like, oh, police brutality, this. Kid Timothy got shot. I can't call his last name. Got shot on the roof. He came on the black radio station. I had to beg for this man to come on here. He came with the police commissioner. He met with Reverend Al Sharpton. He met with the family, and he paid for the kid's funeral. So that's what I'm saying, that we can understand the drill. We can understand the assignment when a lot of people want to be cliches with it, but that doesn't take away from us critiquing, because we got to get better, because we are bleeding people from the Democratic Party and bleeding from people doing the right thing. Like Joe wants to say, the do right party. You're bleeding people away. When they tune out, you can't get them to tune back in. It's very hard to get them tuned back in.
Absolutely. And look, you made me think of something. I brought up that legislative recap that we're having. And, you know, I was talking with the person putting it on, and she was asking me, it was like, hey, what do you think about this? And I was quite honest with the team. I was like, you know what? I think it's bullshit by itself. I think it's bullshit by itself, because all you're doing is giving these folks a platform to basically lie to people or to tell their version of what they supposed to do. So it's like I'm defining the questions and the answers in that situation. So I told her, I said, hey, we need to develop a legislative scorecard.
Come on.
Where we are basically scoring these individuals in various metrics. Hey, how many meetings did this person have? Community meetings this past year, A through F. Did they have 1? They may get a D. Did they have 0? Did they have 5? They may get a C. You don't know. Have this person, how many incident requests have come in this person's district, or in how many times have they called folks back? You know, what issues are they advocating for? How many bills? These are all areas where we can rank these folks in various areas and then hold them accountable to that. Now we're doing more than just letting these folks come and lie to us. We are actually now changing the dynamics of not the politician, Fatim, because I'm with you. I need to change the minds of people to think that, hey, you can question this person about anything
because you're their boss.
Absolutely.
You hired them. They
Missing.
don't hold it. Too many times we make it seem like these people we put in office are the employees and are the employer, and we're the employees. No, we're the employer. We put them there and we can take them out. And too many times we don't realize that. We literally say, well, you can't mess with senator or congressman or councilman or so-and-so because you know who they know. No, I know that I put them, my vote put them there. Yes. I'm the person, I'm the boss, not them.
And so a lot of times that's literally where we are. We are in a community where we're not challenging, chastising, critiquing in a serious way our leaders. And to me, that's a default that we just can't have. You know, I'm in a position in my own community where folks know I'm either loved or hated because I'm going to speak truth to power and I'm going to speak to those issues. Those politicians know that. They know that if you ask them the right questions, they have no answers. So they try to just buy your friendship, buy your
Mhm.
support. They'll give you a plate lunch dinner. They'll let the
Mm.
right Republican lobbyists put on a nice little shindig. But there's no policy.
But brother,
and no
brother
policy
Ravis,
coming to you.
but brother Ravis, I gotta just jump in here real quick. Do they do that to the Jewish community? No.
Fuck no, they
And,
don't.
and you
Excuse my
know
language.
why?
'Cause they
Because
can't
what
be-
Joe said, you gotta listen to what he said and understand what he said is correct. But it doesn't operate in the black community like that because it's our vote that put in there, but we don't move as a voting block. So even though we the employer, we don't act like that because we're not a voting block. So they can, that's what I said, they can throw us a little bone here because we're a splintered community. They can't do that to the Jewish community because they move as one.
Hey,
They
hey,
move
and
as
brother-
one, even if they are different factions. Because you notice, Jack, in Brooklyn, we got different factions of Jews. We got them in
Yeah.
Williamsburg, we got them in Crown
Yeah.
House, we got them and going up towards Coney Island. But when it comes down for them to move as a unit, they do.
They move.
We as the
Yeah.
black folks, especially in the Democratic Party, we're splintered and we don't move like that. And
Yeah.
that's why they can
Yeah.
split us up, and we don't have the real power like other ethnic groups have.
That's right.
And brother
And you're
Fatim.
exactly right. Real quick, Joe, Fatim,
Yeah.
with that being said, if you wait till the 9th hour to
Mm.
go into those Hasidic Jew communities to say, you know what, I'm with you now. You know, I want to speak to you guys now. They're not beat. They don't want to hear. They're like, where were you then? So now the irony of it all is now that Kamala is saying in the 9th hour, okay,
Yes.
well, let me speak and get this population of my black brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But were you really thinking about your black? You don't lay in
Thank
bed with
you.
a black brother. Do you got
Damn
black
right.
brothers? You know, like what is going on? So now at the last moment, you want to try to pander to them. So I wouldn't be
Definitely.
surprised if a lot of black men still say, hell no, I ain't falling for it. Where
Exactly.
was
And
you
that's
going
what I'm
another
trying to
line?
say.
So,
Yeah,
and not
absolutely.
only that, let's even drill down deeper. Forget us voting block. We don't have any contribution monetarily to stand on any feet. So hold it. Let's go beyond the voting block. The reason that we're so splintered is because we don't have no fight. See, all the groups you name have financial power. They have PACs. They have groups that have much money that they can pour into a campaign that says, because we put our money. Name me the largest black or brown PAC that is putting money out there to say our money speaks for us. Because guess what? Your voice don't mean a lot in America, but your money means a great deal. That's
But
why
you know
we're
what,
trying
Joe?
to.
Joe,
Huh?
we got money though. It
Thank
seems
you.
as though us as a people don't have money. We the biggest consumers in the world. Our
Okay.
money is just
Don't
misplaced.
fall for that
Okay,
okie doke.
okay,
Thank
okay,
you, Jax.
okay,
We don't
okay,
fall for
Jack,
that okie
Jack,
doke.
Jack. But what I just said, you just confirmed it. It's like you said, we don't have our money at the right place to push it in the right direction to get what we need to get. That's what I was saying. Where is our money? We won't come together and say, listen, instead of us out here trying to be the biggest consumers, let's take some of that we're throwing out into the economy that's making this country the country it is. Let's take that and do what the Jewish folks, what the Chinese folks, let's put that and pinpoint that and direct it in an action committee to say, listen, if you don't do XYZ, you don't get our money, you don't get our vote. But see, we give our money nilly-willy. We like prostitutes out here when it comes down to this system. And we got to be real about it.
We don't have power.
And the problem is,
Power.
and the problem is we don't have the money, we don't have the voting block, and we don't have the power because we won't come together and humble ourselves to work together. Everybody wants to have that head nigga in charge syndrome. And if I ain't the head nigga in charge, I'm going to sink the ship. I'm going to divide the ship. They don't divide the ship, even though they have factions in New York of Jews. When it comes down to a Jewish issue, them factions put all their bullshit to the side and they come together and move in one direction. We don't do that as black and brown people, period.
We have the money, as Jack says. We don't have the power because we have not built the coalitions to do what some of these other individuals do from a power perspective there. We have had the voting block. Some of us in the Democratic Party, when it comes to blacks, have voted high 90 percentile for a Democrat. We have. The problem is that they can run
No
and
return.
come to us, like Jack said, in that 11th hour, not just the 9th hour, the 11th hour, and do that over and over and over. That's why we're starting to bleed now, because people are tired of that. And then when we get out here and try to put the debate out there and say, this is the important election, which you just said, Brother Ravis, this is a very, very critical, important election. Some people say, F it. You should have corrected this shit 20 years ago. You should have corrected this 10 years ago. You had 4 years to get this right, Democratic Party. Where were you, the DNC? Where were you? So that's why I guess I get so upset when you come with this okie doke, and I'm sitting here looking like, here we go, playing like yo-yos again with us as a people. You're jerking us off again. And I don't like that. And I'll call us out that do it. Don't care where you're at. I'll call you out. Me and Reverend Sharpton went at it with the Biden thing. I'm not biting my tongue no matter who I'm talking to, because you got to change. If you don't change, you're always going to fall for the same old crap.
That's right.
You
So
know,
Fatim,
and-
what happens to all the brothers now that go out and say, you know what, if I am gonna vote, for Kamala, when you look at the back end of it, and she's still now 4 years in and still didn't do a damn thing for the black men.
Then the
You know?
Democrats,
So-
then you really start to lose more black men.
Exactly.
Right, hold it.
Exactly.
And then we can look at, and here's something Brother Fatim brought up that I think I would like to look at. I'm going to throw it back to Brother Martinez.
Sure.
You talk about 10, 20 years ago, right? It should have been fixed. 10, 20 years ago, I'll be honest with you, my mind wasn't even on politics like it is now. And see, that's another thing. That's where we got to start taking our own self-accountability and saying, where were we at when we should have been? Because 10, 20 years ago, I wasn't talking like I'm talking today. I'll be honest with you. I'll be very honest with you. And so that's where we've got to, as Brother Polidor said when he was on here, we've got to start at a young age educating our young minds to see, because the thing about it is a lot of us, we're in the 11th hour. We're in the 9th hour with our thinking, because guess what? When we were in our 20s and in our 30s, we wasn't talking like this. We weren't paying no attention to this. And
So
I
was
hold
I was
on,
out there with
hold on.
Shirley Chisholm and
Hold-
Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Hold
When
on.
they ran, I was there.
Hold it. I didn't say hold it. I'm saying some of us. I
Yeah, I know.
didn't say all of us. There would be exact with you raising. And listen, I was very much into radio issues, what was going on too. But I'm going to be very honest. There wasn't a large pocket or group of us who was out there 20 years ago talking like we're talking today. There's not.
Are
That's
you
just
sure?
what it is.
Joe? Whoa. I disagree, because I just said to you yesterday, you go back and look in the 70s. You go back and look at the Black Panther Party. You go look back at Kwame Ture. You go back and look at some of those people that were starting to run for office. There was more of us talking about there, and there were more platforms for us to talk about. It was more radio stations. It was more black newspapers. There were even coming up more black television programs. So more of us was talking about this then than they are now, because we don't even have the platforms like we had before.
So my question is this, Brother Fatim. Riddle me this, riddle me that. If that was the case, then why are we in the position we're in?
The reason why, because they came in between us and destroyed us. COINTELPRO, it was real. They came in and destroyed us, brother.
I was just waiting to hear
Let me
you
answer
put
that.
that. See, because what we have to understand is we had what we needed, but we allowed the enemy to come into camp and divide us. That's what I was waiting to hear.
And that's why we still have to look at it, that it's still a spiritual war. If you know what I'm saying, it's still spiritual. So they want to destroy us by any means necessary. And when they try to destroy us, they instill fear within us. Back when you talk about the Willie Lynch letter, you know what I'm saying? So we really have to get out of our own way, because we're really the ones that's standing in the way. And we have to get rid of our fear, get rid of our biases, leave the drugs alone, leave the, all of the other, whoremonger, like leave all of that stuff alone and focus on building up your community. Be faithful to your wife if you have one. If you don't have a wife, or a husband, do what you gotta do. Get one and be good to him. Raise your family, raise a strong black family like Brother Ravis is doing, with his family, right? So like we have to try to build these strong black families to push and forge ahead. We have to encourage, in my opinion, we have to encourage our children to, you know what, your mama black, I'm black. do what you gotta do and find you a strong Black man or a strong Black woman when you grow up to get married, to keep the wealth and the access and the education within our own community and grow and be strong, be fruitful and multiply, not be diluted and messed up going 1,000 different ways. Because now if we have 1,000 different, families and everybody's marrying, all these other nations, essentially, how is that strengthening up our community? Because now that fight is no longer just on the fight for the Black community. The fight is really kind of dulled down and sequestered to then focus on just loving, everybody else, so we have to be, vigilant within building our own community and our own economic system and regaining our power and strength, because we've given our power away so freely that we don't seem to know how to get it back, but we can
Brother,
get it back.
Brother Martinez.
This conversation is intriguing me on many levels. Part of it is I'm literally reading this book. It's called A Different Day, African American Struggles for Justice in Rural Louisiana from 1900 to 1970. The major theme that I'm seeing is totally agreeing with Brother Fatim. We had strong leaders. We had strong organizations. We had that. But then we had a strategy designed by the oppressor that said, hey, let me go get my own Blacks. Okay, so it wasn't necessarily the majority party or quote unquote the white man. It was, let me go find my own Blacks that are closer to my position. I'm going to push out the real quote unquote Blacks. And then I'm going to put these representation of Blackness. They look Black. Okay. They're friendly. They may live with us, but they're not really for us or with us to be able to move us further. That has been going on forever. Every welfare program, every help organization, it all started. The Panthers, all strong Black organizations. Okay. Then we let our weak, power-hungry individual selves get in the way of culture and community. And it's the exact same thing happening today. I ran for office. My first time, really my second, I was student body president, but when I ran for office, folks asked me, Ravens, what do you want to do? I said, I want to make Black millionaires.
Amen.
And billionaires. I want to build industry and wealth in the communities that I represent. If I'm not helping build Black millionaires, I've done nothing in this system, because that's what that system's doing. Every other community.
That's
that
right.
unity that we're talking about with the Jews and all that, it's based on money, but they understand that they're going to move together and they're going to be able to move forward. We haven't gotten beyond that. I was in a meeting 2 weeks ago with a white architect. He's like, Ravis, and we've been cool for a long time, because he was a former state rep. Okay. About 10 years ago, he was a state rep. He asked me, he's like, Ravis, why when I talk to white people, and it's a white guy, why when I talk to white people, they tell me, hey, if it's anything dealing with Black people in this community, the white people saying, hey, have you went talk to such and such? And he's like, Ravis, why no Black person ever told me that I need to go talk to a certain such and such, a gatekeeper? I said, that person doesn't speak for me or my family. I can sit at a table and talk intelligently. They don't have the bandwidth or the skill set. They just was popular. But that's where we are right now as a community. The issues that we're seeing in the Democratic and Republican Party, that shit's been that way forever.
Exactly.
Right? And we have constantly been used to the party.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And look, I'm a DPEP member. I'm gonna put that totally transparent. I represent the Democratic Executive Committee here. I'm part of that structure. They were members that supported Republicans over Democrats before, just from ideology. And I'm like, how can that be in a system? There's folks at the state level that we keep sending there that score higher with the Republican Party scorecards that I talked about than Democratic scorecards. But we good with them because we went to the same high school, or I know their cousin. To me, until the rubber hits the road and folks understand that these folks work for us, period, ain't nothing's going to change in this system. So, you know, the amount we talk about black men in voting, I want to talk about that a little bit because it's a problem, but to me, it's not a problem. That number's so small, in my opinion, of folks that are engaged with the Republican Party. They're saying less than 2-3% of black men. What does that actually mean? Okay, because again, I don't know any black man that has a black wife or a family or that's black inside and out that is voting for this man.
We got a couple on here, brother. We got
wait a minute. We got a couple.
We got a couple, baby.
And I know some of those folks personally that we're talking about, and I don't even think that they're in tune with that like they're professing to in this platform. That's just me personally. And look, I'm not denying anybody's own political right or where they're going to be, but just my own interactions. How folks move matters to me. You can tell me anything, but I'm going to watch how you move every single day. And, you know, as a community, we're going to continue to hurt until we hit a point of like, you know what? We run this shit. That flag, that shit is ours. We built this country. This is our country. Until folks understand that and get into the rhythm of supporting that and trying to build that for themselves, then we're not going to move. You know, I think Jay-Z said a line. He was like, you know, you trying to die off a rented block? Like you renting on that street. You represent something you don't even own. And right now, what are we representing? All right. And that's where I'm at, guys. That's where I'm at.
Let me just say this to you, brother Martinez. How you say Martinez or Martinez?
Yes, sir. You
Martinez.
got it. Martinez.
Okay, so I said to Joe yesterday, I'm gonna say it to your face. You are a breath of fresh air with the NAACP. I've been around I forgot Brother Derek's last name, that is the NAACP president.
Johnson.
Okay. I've been around him, and I you know, my report card is still out on him, but there's been some positive things that I have seen. And I'll just say it to you, you're a breath of fresh air, because a lot of times when I had to deal with the NAACP back, like, I will really put my age out here, 30, like I was out there active, 20, in my 20s and my 30s, they were full of crap. They were full of crap. And they were dealing with name only. And that's why other organizations were able to prop up and come up, because they were not doing the job needed to be done. And you're a breath of fresh air. I wouldn't put you on the spot because I was going to ask you, but it's cool. It's not important. Well, I was going to ask you, you know, what is the support that you get from the national level? But I think that when we operate today, we're not talking about the national level. So that's why I said it's not really necessary. It's what you represent and how you represent them. And I think that the work that you're doing, I would love, I mean, if you was my representative of the NAACP, because I remember when Ben Chavis Muhammad became the president, he energized the NAACP at that particular time, that he got young people to come in. And the way that you articulate the issues and straightforward and transparent, live in the community, talk about family and things like that, you are a great example. And we need more brothers like you, no matter what organization that you are affiliated with, to be able to articulate this, because this is really important. The way you talk now, you can get the people that are your age, older and younger. We got to forget, I heard what Joe, we are elders or whatever. The bottom line is we got to be able to talk to everybody. If you can't talk to the young, then get out the way, because the young You got to be able to communicate. And if you can't, then you got to get somebody to be able to communicate. But if you don't know how to talk to the young, you don't even know what young person to go out there and tap. I told Joe yesterday, we got to bring on some young folks here to hear their conversation as well. Because if you don't, so I do.
Yes.
The team does communicate with the young. And at the end of the day, you got to listen to them because they're not all on TikTok. And some of them are on TikTok. You don't have to criticize because they're on TikTok because that's the tool of today. But that don't mean that they're run and manipulated by TikTok for social media, but they utilize it. But we got to be able to talk to all the folks. And if you can't, deal with your lane and let others deal with their lane. But I have to give you that compliment, my brother, because you are able to talk to so many people that are different age, different colors or whatever to deal with the issues. And that's what we need is real people. And that's all I was talking about, being authentic. And that's what you are, my brother. Authentic.
And let me tell you what that has gotten me.
Come on.
Okay.
Let's get them, Ravens. Let's go.
being that person, it's heavy, but it's worth it. It's heavy, but it's worth it. I can't tell you that I have the support of the majority of the politicians here because I hold them totally accountable. I'm the guy not afraid to call the media to go against something that they should have brought to the community, meaning our representatives. But first, I'm going to call them. First, I'm going to try to reach out in mano to mano, man to man, not in front of the public. A lot of times, they rebuff those efforts. I've had a politician laugh at me before. They'll never laugh again. They laughed at me when I'm trying to help them help us. And then I had to burn them. And they'll never laugh again because they're not in office anymore. The reality is, Fatim, we don't have enough people that believes that their voice is.
Come on.
We don't have enough black men. We have black women. They're out there. All right. I didn't get this way from a black man. And that hurts me to say that. Everything that I've developed came from a black woman. Single black woman raising kids. But teaching her son, hey, don't take no wooden nickels from nobody.
Thank you.
And know what the hell you're talking about. And if you care about something, fight for it. And so, when you sit there and say, hey, people are people. I moved into the depths of the community where there's homeless actively walking all the time. I moved here on purpose.
Come on. Talk.
So I can bring my kids to a place of understanding in life that, hey, this shit ain't fair for everybody. And you got to be able to serve and help every community. We don't have enough of that. It takes a while, but people know if you're real or not. People know if you're real or not. I recently probably got one of the best awards I could ever get, and I've gotten a lot. Most of the shit never will see a wall. All that shit's in boxes, but I just got an award, an activism award from the culture, from Creole culture. Meant a lot to me. Why? Because it's about the work, and like you said, people seeing the work. And for me, that's what it's all about. This election, circling back, I want to be able to tell everybody, especially my kids, what the hell I was doing when this shit was going on. When all this stuff is going, what are you doing individually just to support them? If you're selfish enough to make it just about your family, well, fight for them. And it's broader, it's bigger than that. But if that's where you're at, just fight for them. But we don't have enough people doing that.
10 minutes.
Saying that.
10 minutes to the top of the hour. Brother Ravens Martinez, my friend, my brother, warrior, champion for our communities, for us as a people, not only locally, not only on the state level, not only on the national level, but world and universal wide. Man, I got nothing but love for you, brother. You know, me and
Love
you
you guys.
good. We always will be. You
Mhm.
know, we in this hood by choice.
By
You know,
choice and by design to make a
come
difference.
on. Come on, that part. So, with that being said, 9 minutes to the top of the hour. So happy to see Sister Jax back. Sister Jax, is your
Yeah.
mic working? Are you there?
No,
I can't hear you.
can't
No,
hear
we
you.
can't hear you. We can't hear you. Yeah, we can't.
Your mic's
We
not
can't
on.
hear you. Your mic's not on.
Turn it
Well,
off.
you're right. She'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be back. So, um, Brother Martinez, as we get
Yes,
ready
sir.
to bring this show to a close on this Work It Out Wednesday, I do appreciate you coming in. I'm going to give you, while Sister Jax is trying to come back, I'm going to
Sure.
give you the opportunity to say whatever it is you want to say as your closing words as we get ready to make it out of here. I thank you for taking your time and making time to come on here and share what thoughts you have shared. Just talk to me, man. Talk to me. Here you go.
You know, and for team, I'm copying you, bro, because I watch you when y'all do your closing. I watch the show. You know, Joe, no, I was here since day one, with you guys. And so I'm just gonna leave you with this quote by James Baldwin. And he says, "I pray I've done my work so that when I'm gone from here, in all the turmoil, through the wreckage and the rumble, when someone finds themselves digging through the ruins, that they'll find me. Somewhere in that wreckage, they'll find something that they can use that I left behind. And if I've done that, then I've accomplished something in this life." And so for me, you know, I want to leave your viewers, I want to leave you guys with that. Right now, we all have an opportunity to accomplish something in this life that can affect and help somebody that we don't even know or that we do know. I'm asking all of us to stand in that gap, stand straight, bloody but unbowed, head back and ready for more, and have it in your heart to help somebody that may need it. That's it. I love you guys. Again, this community is mourning in ways that we can't even quantify at this moment. But I pray that we all get through this. And I pray that we see the success that we need for us and our families. So thank you guys for having me today.
Man, we appreciate you, Brother Martinez. Sister Jax is back. Sister Jax, is your mic on now?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you
Okay.
now. So with
Good,
that
good.
being said, Brother Martinez, like I said, man, you know you my dog, man.
Appreciate
Look,
it.
let's grab some coffee later on this week, man. You know, it's Southern Homecoming. You gonna be on the bluff, man?
I'm going to
Am
be
I
on
gonna
the bluff, brother. You know, I'm
Oh.
on the bluff tomorrow for class, but I will be on the bluff this weekend.
Hey, so we'll see each other on the bluff, baby. With that being said, let me go to Sister Jax. Sister Jax, give me some closing words. So happy to see my sister back. I just got to ring the bell, hit it again, and hit a lot of applause. Give it up, Sister Jax. Give us some closing words.
Yes, I just want to say, Brother Ravis, like, you are a G. You did a phenomenal job today, my brother. You brought it harder than you've ever brought it on the show. So I really appreciate you. I respect you. Kudos to your mom for raising such a phenomenal young man. I mean, I know, you know, she is or would be completely proud of you. So keep up the good work and being that example for the community and for your children. Big ups to Brother Sean. You did a phenomenal job once again. What you're doing here with us and around the community and in your own space is so critical, valuable, and important, because reading is what they used to say back in the day, fundamentals. So I appreciate you. I thank you. To all my viewers to all of our viewers that have been supporting continuously, and even been there, sending me prayers and well wishes throughout my journey recently. I totally appreciate you. I thank you. I've read all the messages. Thank you so much. I'm still on the mend and healing, but God is good. I was able to hop on today. So if nobody told you they love you today, y'all know who loves you. Your girl Jax loves you. Be blessed, be safe, stay focused, and be the best you can be. And most importantly, be kind to others, as you would want them to be kind to you. So be blessed. Peace out. See y'all soon.
Brother Fatim.
Yeah,
it up,
Sister
brother.
Jax, again, you know, we talk and we cut up on the phone, but again, great to have you back. Your words just now were right on point, Brother Ravis.
it is what it is. And I said what I had to say to you, my brother. Thank you for standing up and being who you are and not being scared to say what needs to be said. To Brother Sean P, again, another great selection of books between you and Jax today, you know, and I put this book up here again, Black AF History, the Unwhitewashed Story of America by Michael Harriot. Okay, that's in front of me. I'll leave you with these closing words today. And yesterday I mentioned Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I'm gonna leave you with these words. And this is a powerful message from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which he shared in Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community. That's his book. That's one of numerous books that he has written. Those are the words, not these. These books are by him. You need to know, and I'll list these books about it. You know what? I'll talk to Brother Sean P and see how he would like to do it. But I think since he does the book piece, I think it's only fair to allow him to let's talk about Dr. King and his books that he has written. So this goes to the book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community. Dr. King called for a radical shift in our values to address the deep issues of racism, economic inequality, and systemic injustice. He challenged us to move from a society focused on profit and power to one that values human dignity, equity, and justice. King's vision of a revolution of values wasn't just about civil rights. It was about moral revolution. He urged us to dismantle poverty, eradicate racism, and create a just society built on love and brotherhood. The question now is, are we willing to embrace this transformation and commit to dismantling systems of injustice? His words still ring true, calling us to build a future rooted in justice and human dignity. Let me say that again. Future rooted in justice and human dignity. Let's continue that work together. And I say that in response to, if Dr. King could say that in 1968, and we in 2024, and we got more Black politicians, I don't want to hear scripted BS. I want people to be real and understand our plight and deal with our plight, and don't run to us on the 11th hour, because when you run to us on the 11th hour, we may not pull that lever on the 12th hour for you. Peace.
Brother Fatim, Sister Jax, welcoming her back and her lovely face on the show. Brother Sean P, of course, with the pen to the pad, to the paper, and Brother Martinez. Man, I really appreciate everybody that came on today. It is 2 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm just going to end like I always end. Be better today. Please be better today than you were yesterday. And do something today to be a blessing to someone somewhere, that no matter what you do, there's no earthly way that they can pay you back. And always remember that there is no secret, absolutely no secret, what God can do. What he has done for others, he will and he can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. We'll be back tomorrow for Turn Up Thursday. Turn down for what? If the Lord say the same. Y'all have a great day. We up out of here. Peace.
That's 100.